Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. This is the Creativity Show. I'm Clare Cooley, and we are going to continue with this theme of stencils and all that you can do with stencils. And today I'm actually going to show you something different, taking stencils to the next level. Fine art. Um, Yesterday, I painted this iris stencil on this outfit, and I added some hand painting, which we're going to show you in a couple minutes here. And we're going to show you, I'm going to work in front of you on these flower stencils that I made into fine art prints and art that I hung in my sewing room. So we're going to show you me working on it with pencils. We're going to show you a clip of hand painting, making your stencil work into one-of-a-kind fine art to wear, I like to say. We can take plain or stained and cover over a stain. We can take plain new clothes or frugal used clothes and make them into something special, totally unique, while you have the fun of this frugal, fast way to make fabulous fashion. So can we do a close-up on this to show them what I did yesterday? So in the fun and fast, we see that, I painted this yesterday, and I started with my iris stencil, and then I added some handwork, which, are we ready to show that?
Yeah, Meg Litz said, so clever.
Thank you, Meg. I'm glad you're here. And so this is a little handwork that we can do, and it's fun and it's fast, and it's a way to take the stencil that is basically a template and make each time we use it, we can make it unique. I wanted the colors to go with this blouse I like to wear with this jacket, so that's what I decided my color palette for the stencil for the iris would be. So there you go. I added some pink and I added some gold in the stems, and so there you go.
And Meg Litz said, I love the idea of taking a stained/ruined garment and making it into something beautiful.
Thank you. I'm all about being frugal and putting less in the landfill, and I literally have clothing that my mother got me in used stores when I was 16 that I've kept and treasured all these years. I don't like to waste anything, and so it is a challenge to our imaginations to figure out something to do to cover up an imperfection in clothing or tablecloth or curtains, and use our imaginations and have fun creating something that saves that fabric, whether it's clothing or houseware, it doesn't matter. And then we have the fun of doing it, and we save it, and it's like I like to say, righteous resourcefulness. So
she said the gold is next level.
Thank you very much. And it is really fun. Yesterday was the first time I did that, used hand painting on the stencils, and I'm going to continue doing that and showing that in these 40 outfits that I showed last virtual visit. I am now going to take some of them, and maybe even the ones you guys suggest. I'd love to hear what you suggest would be enhanced by some handwork. And it makes it, from stencil into fine art as soon as we use our imaginations and creativity to make each stencil template design into something unique with the handwork. And today is going to be the first time I'm going to use pencil with stencils. You're going to see me doing it for the first time on these flower prints. Can we show that?
Meaning like so? Or you want to see the sewing closet too?
Both. So these hang in the sewing closet. These shapes work in it's a closet I turned into a sewing room, so I call it the sewing closet sometimes. But these foam core that I'm going to show you first, how I'm going to put my gloves on because in this dry weather especially, I oil my hands and I don't want to get oil on.
Meg said, love your camera work. Thanks, Meg.
I'm so lucky to have the cameraman's thumb. I'm so lucky to have a son that is a whole different kind of creative. As Meg said, what did she call you? The
expertise.
Yes, his expertise. He has a whole different set of skills, and I'm so fortunate and grateful he asked me to work with him and named us Mother Son Productions, and we get to help each other manifest our very different art forms. So what I want to show you before I start drawing on it is how simple, with a piece of foam core, the prints, I do use hot glue here, not just the tape, so that it doesn't start pulling out of the tape. I have noticed that with this tape, it can start pulling the cord because of the weight, can start pulling out. So I use the hot glue to keep it stable and the tape to give it strength. And let me show you those. Here's the...
We also have the table camera, so you can show that.
Oh, okay. So here's the hot glue gun. Very handy tool. Very handy tool. A little bit goes a long way for all kinds of different...
We're recording things as well for our other YouTube videos, so I got to make sure to record.
Yeah, so Bodhi's got so many things going on in here, and I let him do the technology so I can focus on the art part. And so here's the package tape tool. And the only other tool besides cutting a piece of cardboard or foam core, and we all pretty much have cardboard in our lives, boxes now that we could make a back. I use the foam core because it's acid free, and so is the paper that I do these prints on, but it doesn't have to be foam core, it can be cardboard. And even if it's cardboard, you could put a piece of acid-free paper in between your prints and the backing so that the acid from the cardboard doesn't degrade, yellow your colors. So here's the double stick tape that I use to put these.
She said, generational wealth of creativity, the dynamic duo.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, my mother was an artist, and she didn't get to, she was classically trained, but she didn't get to do her art. 4 kids later, alcoholic husband, ended up on her own, working in factories with all that education. So I really treasure that she was, I'm so grateful that she was always an advocate for me to explore and express my creativity. And it also gave me real impetus, no matter what I had to do to pay the bills. When I took in my mother and my 2 nephews, running a restaurant, cleaning houses. I've worked on the boats with the longshoremen. I've done many things during my life to afford to be able to do my art. But I always do my art, and now I get to do it full time, which is really wonderful. And my son and I get to help each other do our art full time. My mother would be so proud. So I'm grateful, she's proud, all is good. So let us get the colored pencils out to work on these. Here's the fine art, the art cabinet. Started like most people's entertainment cabinet with a VCR in it, and then it became the true entertainment, our imaginations, the best entertainment cabinet. So I like to recreate with things, reuse things, just keep giving them the next purpose in our life. So let's move this one out of the way. I'm going to work a little bit on each of them. Let's do this. So I like these gloves so that I don't have to worry about touching the paper. We're going to start with this light blue mum. And just add a little. We're just going to add a little.
Such a gift. 3 generations of creatives, 3 gen creatives, and that's probably the best use of the entertainment center.
Thank you. Okay, so can we see this? So we see this got a little faint for my liking. So you see how simple it is to give it a little more.
Let's see, we can get a little closer in on that, I think.
Just want it to pop a little more. A lot of these, were a little more dense, so this one kind of felt a little weak. So we're.
Move it. Could you just move it over a little bit like that? There you go. You can see here where you're drawing. In reference to the camera.
Right. Bodhi always wants me to look over there to see what I'm doing, but I'm always looking here. I'm really good at focusing on what I'm doing in one place. We really can only focus. There is no such thing. Dual tasking is a fallacy. Our mind is one place at a time, and we can switch back and forth quickly. And that's what most people actually mean when they say dual tasking, but we're still switching. And to step into the creative flow, we want to be present. We want to be there and relax and be fully in that. This is a little bit like making your own coloring book. When you use these stencils, which I'm going to let Bodhi tell you how to get them.
Yeah, you can. Hey there, I'm a little out of focus, but you can get the SVGs, which are scalable vector graphics, on her Patreon, patreon.com/Clare Cooley. The link is also scrolling on the bottom here. And that allows you to take these files and cut them whatever size you want with your stencil cutting machine of your choice.
Or you can cut them with a razor blade. You can cut them with a hot knife. You can even cut them with scissors. And I've done all of those things before graduating to a Cricut stencil cutting machine when I designed 300 different stencils. After I cut stencils a piece in 48 different languages, I'll let Bodhi show you that, by hand, I decided it's time, I've earned it, a stencil cutting machine. And so the 300 designs that one at a time are coming out. 10 are out now, the 10 flowers, but they're going to keep coming out. And my Patreon members, instead of paying $3 a piece for each stencil, they get all the stencils for the $5 membership, monthly membership fee with no extra cost. And like I said, they're going to just keep coming out. So right now there are 10, so you save $25 right off the bat. And they're going to keep coming out, and the members will have access to all of them at no extra cost. So I'm happy with the way that brightened that up. I'm going to give a little more in these.
Got a comment on the screen from Tigger Tiramisu.
Hey, Tigger, nice to know you're there.
Mom is so vibrant now. Love your ideas.
Thank you. I just had this idea of, well, I don't have to put the stencil back down. I can just do it with colored pencils. And this is fun. This is like, I made my own coloring book, and now I feel like a kid coloring it. And I am going to turn my stencil designs at some point into a coloring book for all ages. On the way there, this is really fun to experiment with this and see how easy this is to brighten it up.
Yeah. So Meg Litz said a few things. Chrysanthemums are delightful. Thanks, Bodhi. I'm watching on my phone. Where do I get the link for Claire's Patreon? So a few places. If you're watching on your phone, then you can't really scan this code I just put up on the screen, because that would require another phone. But so like one other way you can do it is go to www.patreon.com/Clare Cooley with no spaces. It's also linked in the description of this video. So underneath this video where you're watching on Facebook, the link to her Patreon should be in there. And I'll share the link in the comments right now.
And Clare is spelled C-L-A-R-E, and Cooley, like it sounds, cool, E-Y. I had a friend once say, a skating buddy out in the park, somebody asked your last name, and I knew it was something really cool, but I couldn't remember it. I'm like, that is funny. All right, I'm going to add a teeny bit of green in those stems just because I'm having fun. And
now, I shared the link. I can never figure out where to point. It's always backwards. I shared the link, but go into the comments where you're typing your comments, and it should. Oh, you know what? Maybe it only showed up on YouTube. I'm going to put it up on Facebook right now.
we really appreciate it when you connect with us and ask questions and make suggestions. And it really helps us. We are a 2-person production team, and we're learning as we go. I've never really done this before, get in front of the camera regularly, talk while I'm creating. All of it is new, and I'm loving the challenge, and I'm loving learning. And what I love the most is connecting with you. So that's what makes my heart sing with joy.
Meg said, can't wait for your coloring books. Thank you. Yeah, Meg, I sent the link in the comments on YouTube. let me know if you have any trouble opening it. We're always figuring out the technical details here. There's always more to learn about the technology.
Well, there's always more to learn about everything, about art, about how to help, my favorite, connecting with people, how to help encourage people to explore and enjoy their creativity, to step into the creative flow, which medically documented increases happiness. It's also medically documented. I know I say this a lot, but I am on a mission to share what saved my life, art, or like I like to say, art saved my ass. So I want to share that with others. As the judge said, how come she's not on death row, or stories like the women on death row? Well, I had a beautiful, kind mother who exposed me to art and encouraged me to use it as a resource. We can express any emotion through it and stimulate our immune system. We can step into the creative flow and increase our happiness, and we can transform our adversity into our advantage by using it as fuel for creative expression. So that's what people asked me to teach in my 20s, and I'm doing this to share with you how easy, fun it is. And this is extremely liberating. I'm getting really high on this idea of, well, just use pencil to brighten up the areas you didn't think were bright enough. Now look at that, Mom. It's just singing with brightness. Color is good for us. All right, I'm going to do a little more of the stem in this one. And it's important not to go too far. Step back often. Give it a break. And make sure that I'm going to turn it around so I can reach it easier. But look at that. That worked out nicely, if I do say so myself. And as I've said, and as I've said before, I like my own work. I know that in this sexist world, it's okay for men to be confident, but women aren't supposed to be. We're supposed to be disclaiming ourselves all the time, and I don't know, and modest, and modesty is beautiful, but it's also beautiful to know what you know, share what you know, help others with it, enjoy it. And I know a lot about creativity because it's where I went to survive the difficult stuff in my upbringing. I always kept it going because I deserved to be happy. I didn't deserve the tough stuff that happened to me. I didn't bring it on myself. And it was very difficult, but I deserved to be happy. So I found a place where I could be happy, and that's creating, no matter what was going on around me or happened to me. So that's what I want to share with you. There's a woman in town here that came to my sessions when I was asked to teach at Miller Dwan Hospital in the mental health department. And all these years later, we've reconnected when I moved back here.
Sumner said, Louis
to know you're there. It does feel like, I call them virtual visits because I do feel connected to you. And it's a way, I say this often, we can tiptoe our carbon footprint by connecting virtually and not driving and flying when we don't have to, but know, love doesn't have any boundaries. It doesn't care about borders and distance between us. So just to know you're there, I feel you. I feel you all, and it's really heartwarming. So thank you for being there. Can we see this one?
Yes.
I'm not trying to make these lines perfectly dense. Variety and the imperfection is part of the artistic process, and we humans want to organize everything and to put everything in its order, but it is my observation that great art accepts the imperfections as part of the way we see the world, the way we absorb nature. As Picasso said, something close to, I could draw like a master when I was a child, but it took me a lifetime to draw like a child. And children aren't concerned with the perfection. They're in the creative flow. And the more we access that, the better. So I'm happy with this now. I'm going to work a little bit on the other one. I'll put that there, and the cameraman can share it. So this one had a couple areas I can hear that the stems disappeared a little bit too much, so I'm going to give them a little bit of love. Oh, okay. Is it good now? What? This way? This way? How's that? Thank you. One of the things about making stencils is you have to have separation between things so that the stencil cutting will work. But I like that. I think it gives a grace to the lines. And am I blocking it again? And a little bit goes a long way. So I'm happy with that, but I'm going to give some brighter edges to this pink. I love color. I'm going to show you this, my way of organizing my colors so I can find what I need quickly. So we get out the Okay, so now am I in the right place? It's a little.
Meg said, a light hand with stencils can be better, especially allowing you to finish and embellish by hand.
Exactly. I have a couple policies when I'm creating visual art. One is don't lose the light. So move carefully, very with presence when you're doing things. It's meditative, peaceful, and you don't go too far. And the other policy besides don't lose the light is anytime you step back to get objectivity is good, to keep doing that so that you don't just go too far with that human urge to try to make things perfect. First of all, we never can. Secondly, that's not the way life appears to us anyway, so it doesn't really necessarily look real or inspire us. Nature, my muse, has all kinds of balanced chaos, basically. So we want to leave the variety. So not going too far. We're going to leave that alone. This mom could use some inner help there. So let us get the right purple. And that is a deepy purple. Did you like that? Deepy. I need my pencil sharpener for this one. That'd be really nice if you could. Meanwhile, it's all right. I can work with this other. Huh?
Rose Boyajian said, hi, are your stencils available for purchase? Great question. Yes, right down here at the link, www.patreon.com/Clare Cooley, which I've also shared in the comments and the description of this video. She has a Patreon where you can purchase the stencil SVG files individually, or you can become a member and get all of them for free included with your membership.
Hi, Rose. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for that question. And Rose, with the International Crane Foundation, I've done 12 crane stencils, which are going to be available to purchase. You know, Bodhi has to make them into SVGs and put them out there. So one after another, they're coming out. We're still in the flowers. I think I have 8 more flowers in this series to put up, and then we're going to do the cranes right after that. So we'll keep it going. And Rose, maybe you want to check out the kimonos I've done with the crane stencils. In previous videos, in fact, last week or last Thursday, I showed 40 outfits I've done with stencils and a number of cranes. On the black kimonos, there's silver crane and white cranes, so check that out. Sometimes stencils, when you use them, the paint can dry on the edges of the cutouts, and so I try to put them right away into a cookie tin with in a little water so that the paint won't make the spaces narrower. But sometimes I am, working in a flow that doesn't allow me to do that, and so the spaces can get narrow. Also, you can use really hot water and get the stencil, even the dried paint, and then you kind of have to scrape it off with your thumbnail not to tear the stencil.
Right. Rose said, I must have them. Absolutely.
Fabulous.
And Meglitz said, a little bit goes a long way.
It's true. I like minimalism. I like to distill the lines of nature. My very, very first drawings were essence drawings, I call them, of birds and plants that I decided that I wanted to use as few lines as possible to convey the essence of the bird or the plant. And it's my nature, it's my aesthetic. My natural inclination is for, my mother called my artistic style elegant primitivism, because I am a self-taught artist. I am following my own instincts, not having been trained, but I grew up, she always gave me the option, which I always preferred, going into the museum instead of being on the playground. I love looking at art and feeling what the artist puts into it, wondering what their life was like, what they were feeling and thinking at the time. I feel like art is a real way to connect with the spirit of a person and the spirit of what their subject matter is. I've sat in front of art museums and just wept because of the beauty in the piece, and it was an ambition of mine that someone someday would stand in front of my art and tears of tenderness would come out. And I, like every artist, wanted to, have some art in a museum and have, some stranger moved by my art. And when I was the featured artist at the Sandhill Crane Festival in Lodi, a woman came up to me and said, I'm embarrassed to say this, but last evening after it was closed, the exhibition, I came in here alone and I just stood in front of your crane paintings and wept. And I said, wow, that's been a dream of mine. That's been an ambition. That's something I've always wanted. You just fulfilled that. And at that same show, one of my pieces was purchased by a museum, so I got both of those things in one show. So that's really beautiful. I'm going to add a little pink, a little darker pink, shall I say. To that, it needs a little, in my opinion, it will benefit from a little depth at the edge. Can the camera see it? The pink iris. How's that? So we're just going to give this little edge. And when we do this variety of color intensity, light, dark, it gives it a more three-dimensionality. Is that a word? I often make up words. Once my sweet, kind mother, we were sitting in a cafe and I was writing a letter with great enthusiasm, and I got done and I said, wow, that's really good. I got that out. And she said, oh, yes, it's so good you did. And I said, you don't know what I wrote or who I was writing to or about or what? And she said, no, but it's so good to inform people of the most creative spelling on the planet, because I stopped going to school at 7. And so I kind of, self-taught spelling is unique. And I also make up words. But that's how it happens in language, is people say something that maybe hasn't been said before. People can use it as a way to describe something. How's this? Okay, we're doing the same thing with the stems, giving them a little.
Sumner said, huge kudos to Bodie for producing an impeccable show today. Why, thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Yeah, I am one fortunate mother, fortunate daughter. And when Bodie and I traveled the country for a year in our RV looking for where to relocate when it was time to leave the West Coast, we ran into so many people. I think we stayed in 100 different places, mostly RV parks, overnight, and then moved on, and 22,000 miles over that year. We met a lot of people, and a lot of them said, how can you travel? And we didn't have a huge RV, 20.
Got a 24-footer, 25-footer.
We named the reasoned manner so we could relocate in a reasoned manner. But anyway, many people said, how can you travel, for so long with your son? I don't get along with my son. I don't even like my son. And I heard a lot of that kind of talk. And how do you do it? And I said, well, you disagree respectfully, but you disagree because you can't agree on everything. You just do it respectfully, and you have some fun together. So that's not, it's not rocket science. It's basically be kind even when you don't agree. And hear each other. Put out the effort. So, am I in front of the camera now?
Yeah, that's what you can do is just hover your hand over the one you're going to draw and then look at the screen.
Okay, I'm hovering. Oh, there it is. There's the screen. Okay. I did design my own website before Bodie was old enough to help me with the technology. But I did it in a dream. It came in a dream. So I don't know. It's the way things work for me. But then when I got somebody to help build it, I couldn't do that part. And then I looked at other websites after it was done for the first time. And I saw, well, it kind of looked like museum websites that had some real similarities. So that was an interesting insight. Okay, we're going for some purple in there because it's fun. Purple is fun. Well, what color don't I like? I like them all in their right place. All right, I'm hovering over, and there it is. So we're going to make this a little less choppy. Not too much. A little less staccato lines here. I think the secret to good relationships is never thinking you really know the other person. Keep listening, keep letting them emerge. We all grow and change, some more than others. But life is an evolution, and we get to know ourselves better. So it makes sense that we would get to know other people better by listening and letting them show us who they are, what's important to them, and paying attention, not tuning them out. I had a mother in our last home who actually was a psychiatrist who told me she never bonded with her son. And I said, well, it's not too late. And she didn't tell him the truth about herself. And, well, you know, why? She said she'd be embarrassed. And I said, well, you know, maybe you should work on getting over the embarrassment and just share who you really are with him. I think it could help him and you. So there I am giving a psychiatrist suggestion, but I thought it was sad that she didn't bond with her son. But you know, that happens in this, let's work on this one, in this sexist world, that women can even inadvertently take their frustration about being treated not as equals, not fairly, out on their male offspring. And that's, or out on their students or their relatives or just men in general. But generally, women are too smart to take it out on men because men often have more power, money, weapons, might. So often they're too good to take it out on kids, too kind, and so they take it out on other women. I call that self-organizing sexism. And gossip, clickiness. I was told in my 20s that women didn't trust me because I didn't gossip. And I said, well, that's not intelligent. I'm the one you should trust because I won't gossip about you when you leave the room. I think we women need to, as Madeleine Albright said, there should be a special place in hell for women who don't support each other. Well, I don't know that I understand why she would say that. But I have no confidence, no belief in hell. Who knows? Who knows about God? Who knows about any of that? That's all what we choose to believe. And I'd rather not believe in hell. But we certainly can create a hellish earth by being unkind to one another. And we can make a more peaceful world by having certain rules, which like don't gossip about each other. If you have something important to say, something that needs to be said about anyone, especially women, because it's harder for women. So we should be kinder to each other, not take it out on each other. But if you've got something to say it privately to the woman, not about the woman. So if it's important enough to say it to them. You never know. I've had some women that I needed to say some truths to that really improved my truth, I needed to share my truth, my hurt or disappointment or fear or whatever about things in our relationship. And as hard as it was to say it, it improved our relationship. Gossiping about someone who's not there doesn't improve anything. It doesn't uplift anyone. It doesn't help any relationship. And if women or anyone bonds with others by gossiping about people that aren't there, stop and consider, well, aren't they going to think, well, if they're willing to say those things about someone who isn't here, what might they say about me when I'm not around? Kind of just makes sense. It's not trust engendering. All right. Well, I think I'm getting to the point where this is just so much fun. I recognize this feeling where it's just so much fun to do this that I could overdo. So that's when I say to myself, that's enough. And so let's show these two pieces. This one, where's the best place for me to hold it?
Nice.
Okay, and now we'll show this one. Okay, so I think we're going to let it be. Step back, meaning give it some time to get some objectivity. I often put the things, the art I'm working on down as soon as I start to feel like, oh, I'm just, kind of going unconscious here, not necessarily being present and just filling in because it's fun to fill in. Stop, set it down, put it somewhere out of sight, and then come see it later with some objectivity and decide if it's done. Another thing my mother taught me, having been classically trained and, her school associated with the Fine Art Museum in Boston. And so she was consummately trained and she worked in studios with artists before becoming a mother of four. And she said most artists overwork their pieces. You stop when it's done. And it's a feeling. It's like, okay, this might be done, so I have to stop and take a break, get some objectivity, and come back and see it later. And so that's what I do. And I always try to have different things going so that if I want to keep working, I can go work on something else without overworking this piece. So next, coming up on Thursday, I'm going to do more of the hand painting on these outfits. So I might even ask you guys to suggest which piece. I might hold up some options and get a vote which piece you'd like to see me work on, and turning the stencil design template into an opportunity to make it into fine art by adding pencil lines or paint if it's fabric, and permanent pens. I've done all those things, and you can make new clothes that just don't have the sparkle to them, or somebody gives to you because they've lost interest in it for one reason or another, or frugal used clothes items into something truly special, absolutely unique. And so there we go.
Great.
And so let's
Before we wrap up, let's just do the recordings we need for this video that we're going to turn this stuff into. So let's just start with, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.
All right, do that one more time.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.
And now do past tense. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
All right, and then the intro. Hi, I'm Clare Cooley. This is the Creativity Show.
Hi, I'm Clare Cooley, and this is the Creativity Show.
Yeah, we get to see a little bit of how the sausage is made, huh?
You get to see my son being the director, which is really fun for both of us.
So today we're going to show you how to take your stencils to the next level by hand embellishing them. By embellishing them by hand.
Today we're going to show you how to take your stencils to the next level by embellishing them by hand. I had a little trouble with that one. Can we do
I don't
that?
know. It wasn't the best formed sentence on my part. So
Let me try.
Say it however you want to say it.
Today we're going to show you how to take your stencils to the next level by hand embellishing them.
Great. Okay. All right. Until next time, stay creative.
Okay, until next time, stay creative. Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.
Okay, so we got everything, and now we can finish the live video. Are you ready to be done?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, and I really appreciate it and feel connected to you, and I love that.
See you next time.
See you next time.